Welcome back, everyone, to another webinar on how to innovate Volusia County businesses. We thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching us live right now on Zoom or whether on YouTube later on Facebook. We hope that so far you've been gaining a lot of good information. About halfway through the series, so we're really excited on things that we're doing, and I know we've heard a lot from other businesses and what we've helped them to do. My name is Zach. I am the administrative coordinator here at the Volusia County Business Incubator, who is the sponsor of the Volusia Tech Hub, which is putting this on. And with me, as always, is my boss, Miss Connie Garzon. Hey, Connie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I think today we're talking about how to do your posting strategy for social media. Is that correct?
Yes, we are going to be having
Awesome.
so much fun today with that topic.
Yeah, that's great. And so you're going to be you're the subject matter expert on this. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it off, and let's get started.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Hi, Tinka, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here today and learn all about this.
Awesome. I'm glad you are joining us again to this amazing webinar. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's start with this topic. Okay, so can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So as I mentioned before in other webinars, you know, an online strategy has to be planned, and all the planning have to start with who's your audience, who's your target market, who are you going to be talking to. I remember in one of the webinars in the past, we just focus on target market. So for those who doesn't know what is the target market, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, how to do it during this session. But one of the things that I want you to know is who they are, where they are they active in social media? And if you don't not have answers to these questions, I would like you just to go and do search and kind of get familiar with that. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to succeed in this amazing world of doing business online. So a little bit about target market. So in our startup world, we always define the target market as the total available market, available market, and the target market. So we refer the total available market as how big is the universe. For instance, if I'm selling computers, then how big is the universe? Just think about it. I think everybody in the whole world has a computer in their house. If not, they have maybe a TV. TV are like computers, but they do different things, or a refrigerator, or a stove, or any machine that has some electronics inside. That's a computer. So if I'm selling computers, or if I'm selling those kind of machines, every single house in the whole universe is my target market. But in business, and if you're starting a company, you cannot say, I'm going to sell to the whole world, because that is not realistic. And that's the common mistakes that many entrepreneurs face when they're starting businesses, that is, everybody's going to buy from me. And that's not true. So then you need to narrow the target market to think about what's the served available market. So how many can I reach with my sales channels? That's more kind of realistic, how big is your sales people, your sales force, to go and reach out the market. Now, startups or the small business, unfortunately, they don't have a target sales representatives all over the world. So they have to start thinking, okay, how many people do I have to help me to sell this product? Now, if there are startups, sometimes they're only the CEO, and the CEO uses so many hats, it's only himself. So then he needs to kind of say, okay, you know what, I'm a startup, and my target market is just this community, maybe my city, or maybe my neighborhood, or maybe my family. So you start going from the general to the specifics. So, and that is how we like to start talking about target markets. What's the target market that you can control? So here in Volusia County, what we usually do with the startups, we say, okay, let's start thinking about the county first. And then let's start thinking about Central Florida. And then we think about, let's start thinking about the state of Florida. See how we are going from your hometown to a region, then to a state, and then you need to think about how you're gonna grow around the United States and hopefully around the globe. So when you define who's that target market, then you can start planning the strategies, not only to succeed in social media or to the internet, but everywhere. If you have marketing strategies to post on TV or in the newspaper, or doing postcards or commercials, etc. So just think about who's most likely that is going to buy your product right now. And as I mentioned before, you need to know where they are, who they are, what time they wake up, what are they eating right now, what are they doing right now, are they going to places right now, or what groups are they belonging, Facebook, or are they tweeting, do they have Instagram pages, etc. So once you identify who are you selling online, then you need to make a plan. So in the last week webinar, we talk a lot about planning and how are you going to do this social media strategy. So I always tell my clients, start with at least 3 social media platforms. Most famous, as you know, we have Facebook, we have Twitter and Instagram, and for business, I like LinkedIn. It's the best way to sell business to business and to get connections, especially when you want to get in front of industry experts. So, so first thing to do, find the networks that connects with your customers. Then once you find the networks, then you need to plan how are you gonna get to them. Then not only you need to plan the process or the message you're gonna send to them, but also the budget. Because yes, you can have a nice Facebook ad and you can have an amazing video on Instagram, but if you don't boost it, you don't pay a little bit of money, nobody is going to see it. So you have to have a budget to promote your business in social media. So I hear many of my clients telling me, hey, Connie, I put a Facebook ad and nobody say anything, or I haven't reached out to any of my potential customers or this and that. I said, have you paid something? No. Well, Facebook, they have to pay themselves too. They have a lot of people that work for them, so they have to, their business. So you have to pay them, just for you to be able to get the message there.
Yeah, and kind of, yeah, I was going to say something real quick on that. So obviously with startups, capital is a strain, right? So every little penny counts, literally every penny counts. So a way you can kind of hack around that is using your first movers, your customers, and entice them to post to their networks. Because what happens is when you post, and we discussed this last time on social media, only those posts, when you do it from a business page, are only going to be seen by your business followers up to a certain percentage. Especially recently with Facebook did the restructure on what posts get promoted and what gets seen visibly. More people are going to see personal posts than they are from businesses, regardless of not if they're paid for or not. So if you can talk to your first customers, your first movers, those key people, and have them post on their social networks as well, on their personal pages, that will help with the cash flow issue initially until you start getting some more customers and be able to really put some money behind your posts for your ads. So
yeah, that's a good point. And also, for instance, if you have a product that needs to be promoted by a YouTuber or an Instagrammer or somebody that's famous on those platforms, then you need to budget you need to pay those people because they're there to do business too. Like if you have a clothing store online, and if you want to attract like millions of people, then pay one of the Instagrammers or the famous, YouTubers to wear their clothes and then to promote the brand. And actually they like to promote our businesses, but they charge, or they want you to send some items for them, and that's how they promote it. So that's kind of part of planning how much money you have to put into your social media plan. Paying the the YouTubers, Instagrammers, paying the kind of the ad that you're gonna put in Facebook, how much money you have to boost them. Also, if you wanna be connected with industry leaders in LinkedIn, you have to pay the premium. I think the premium is like a $50 per month, $39. But then if you pay it, that premium, then you have access to more connections, and then they kind of promote you even better. So every little social media outlet out there, they charge. So you have to have a budget for them. It's like any business. And the good thing is this is less money than promoting your service or product on TV. Remember, a commercial is very expensive.
Way more.
Yeah, it's very expensive. It's nobody in a startup world can put a commercial out there because it's expensive. So put some money in your social media strategy. So many startups or so many CEOs always ask me how much money is good to start putting in your startup. And I always, especially when we're doing numbers, right? And I always say, look, if you want to get the name out there, you have to assign at least 35% of your profits to your marketing strategy. If you don't allocate at least 35% of your profits to marketing at the beginning, you're not gonna get where you wanna be. So at the beginning, it is intense capital, your marketing strategies, because you need it. You need people to know who you are. You need people to know your brand. You need to position your brand. That is very important. And then little by little, when you create that brand awareness, then you can reduce the budget of those marketing campaigns. You can start with 35% of the revenues going to marketing, then go 30%, 25%, 20%, and then you can get to 5%. But that has to happen like in year 5 when everybody knows you. Unfortunately, I know many businesses that don't allocate any percentage for marketing at the beginning because they have to pay the lot of people that work for the company. They have to pay big time CEOs. They have to pay big time vice presidents, but that's not worth it. I mean, put money in your marketing campaign. Otherwise, most likely you're gonna fail. Okay, so once you decide on how many social profiles you have, then you need to create these charts. There are a lot of templates that you can find online in which you can put your account types. Like for instance, account types, you will put like maybe I'm going to do a blog about marketing content. Maybe I'm gonna do another uh, like a little ad about what's the company culture or what's the company about. Maybe I'm gonna do another page that is personal, mixed with personal and business, and then maybe I will do something like support. And then you put your next to it your social media outlets, with like for instance Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. So see this chart that I here. So that's how you start kind of thinking, you know what, Twitter is more like politics, is more like short messages. So I'm gonna do this in Twitter. Now, Facebook gives you the opportunity to have personal and business. You can kind of be more personal in Facebook because it's more like family and it's more like a relaxed group of people. If you want to uh, post things about your company culture and what is it you do, go in LinkedIn. And that's how you say, okay, in LinkedIn, this month, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff about my company culture, mission, vision. I'm going to put it in LinkedIn. And the same week, I'm going to do a little personal things in Facebook. And maybe I'm going to post something in Twitter about something else. But then at least you have organized chart on what are you going to be doing this week. Do you have a question on this one, Twinkle? No? Okay. So then once you have that, then you need to start how I'm going to write this. Like for instance, I always joke about this. I'm a bilingual person. I speak Spanish and English, and you know, I do a lot of things in social media, especially to promote the incubator or talk about startups. But I have always have to have somebody to check what is it I'm going to post, you know, because I'm afraid I'm gonna have a little grammar mistake here and there. Now in my Facebook page, I have a personal Facebook page and I have like a business page. In the personal, I'm just fine. I'm not worried because I'm not talking about business in my Facebook page. But in the other one, that is the business Facebook page, I have always somebody to review my content. Now, if I'm going to put out an image that needs to be designed by a graphic designer, then I hire a graphic designer because, you know, I want something to look great. I want the pictures to be high resolution pictures. Pictures have to be very neat, especially when you are going to post yourself. Um, it's very important to have nice images. Like for Instagram, for instance, Instagram is like, I always say Instagram is picky when it comes to pictures because they have to be very like professional pictures. So then you decide, okay, these pictures are gonna go to Instagram, these are gonna go for Facebook, this is gonna go to LinkedIn. Now, if you have people to help you with that, that would be great. And they are just in charge of managing those postings and those outlets, and that's great. But if you decide to fly solo, then you have to commit yourself to be creating the content, to ask somebody to help you to see if this is a nice thing to post there. Now, if you have sense of humor, keep using your sense of humor, be yourself and be very transparent and be very, how do I say this, very welcoming, you know, very, just show that you're enjoying what you do. Like for instance, when I see Twinka's videos, I just love to see her videos. Twinka, because she's always very passionate about it. She's always laughing. She's very articulate, and she make people engage. Right, Twinka?
Yeah, I think it's really important to be authentic and just be who you are, because that's the person that you want people to fall in love with. And if you're putting on a facade of some sort, how long are you going to be able to keep that up? So you really have to just be yourself.
Yes, that's true. And then if you feel like you are not confident enough with that topic, just find your pal. Like I have Zach. Sometimes I say, Zach, I don't feel confident with this. Can you just talk about this? Because, you know, he knows a lot about startups and business, and he has a better accent than my accent.
Your accent's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So anyway, but see, this is the thing, is like, I mean, I want you guys, the ones who are seeing us out there, that just start, you know, don't just start your channel, start your social media strategy. Don't worry about what people are gonna say. As we mentioned before, be authentic, and whatever you don't know, just find people to help you. But just start. I know you can do it. But of course, planning is very important, because you don't want to be improvising there about anything. Now, going back to planning the content, another chart that I usually use is this one. You have, okay, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I put these ones here because this is what we use the most here at Incubator. So in Twitter, I use my personal Twitter. We don't have a Incubator Twitter. But usually you need to decide where you're going to be posting in Twitter. Now, if I have a Twitter account of this incubator, I will be just posting stuff about startups because that's kind of what we do. Now, in Facebook, we have Facebook page and we put stuff about what we do here at the incubator. We upload our videos. We put quotes here and there, some pictures about events we have. And in LinkedIn is always business related topics, industry news. Or I use Twitter, actually I use my personal Twitter to promote our clients. I have like 2,000 followers, not many in LinkedIn, but it's good. I have a lot of industry leaders that they always call me, hey, I want to know more about this company. And it's a good way for me to promote my clients. Any questions now? Okay, so plan how you will share your content. This is very important because I always say per every hour you write your content, spend at least 15 minutes in sharing it. You know, it has to be very well planned before you push that send button or publish button. You know, as I mentioned before, the images, the grammar, the punctuation, the message. Now, if you need another thing that I want you guys to pay attention is what's going on in the world at that moment. Like check the news, you know, what's going on, because sometimes something happened last night. Like for instance, the explosion in Beirut 2-3 days ago, you know, I was not aware of that, but what if I post something that it goes against that, or it goes something like it will just kind of be mean to them. So you need to be aware of what happened last night or the day before posting something, because it kind of interfere with some very sadness events that happen around the world. So be careful with that, you know, especially when you plan your postings ahead of time. You know, it's always good to be aware of what's going on around, you know, because if a tragic happen in the world, you're not going to be posting next day, oh, something very like a party things, you know. Just be careful. This is just in my opinion, that we need to be careful with that, because we might hurt people feelings and emotions, especially when you sell your products around the world. You know, there are different cultures and there are different people buying your products, so you don't want to be political incorrect, let's put it that way. I don't know, what are your thoughts about it, Zach and Tinka? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so you should definitely always be aware of current events. And I'm glad you brought up the explosion in Beirut, not because of what happened there, but because today, actually, a social influencer who is Lebanese, she's under contract to post certain things. You know, that's how she makes her money. And before she posted them, she put up an awareness message like, look, you know, I'm only going to post these other things only because I'm under contract. You know, what's going on in Lebanon, what's going on in Beirut is a bigger issue, and I wish I could talk more about it, and I plan on to doing it, but I have to get these out of the way because I'm contractually obligated. I think that was a great way to make aware to her followers, to potential followers, that she's aware of the current situation, but she's still contractually obligated to post certain things that had nothing to do with what's going on, especially when she has Lebanese roots. So absolutely being aware and being able to handle certain things when they come up is key. So
yeah, very important, very important. And also, you know, another thing that you need to be aware of is what Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn restrict, what type of content they restrict. Like, For instance, actually yesterday I read the news that somebody tweet that coronavirus is not going to attack the children because children are immune to the virus. So that is like and you know, Facebook and Twitter people say, no, I'm sorry, we're going to delete this because it's false information and this is a miscommunication. And then, you know, you need to be very careful what you're posting out there. That's what you need to plan what you're saying. And then everything that you're saying has to be like true, or you, because otherwise you're gonna cause a lot of reaction. You want positive reaction. You want people to buy from you. You want people to know you for the amazing content and amazing business you have, or the cause you're following. You don't want to know by, you don't want to be known by this person who always kind of want to divide, and you know, just don't do it. And then
Yes.
yeah, Srinka, you want to say something?
Well, I just will say this, and I would love to hear your comment as a professional. We have to be so careful, especially in business, because we don't want to be offending our customers. We don't want to to speak. We can have our own personal feelings, but in front of our customers might not be the place to share that. I recently had someone contact me and say they didn't know what to think about someone's post that they saw, and it was on their personal page, but they're also promoting their business on there. And I just said, you know what, everybody has freedom of speech. The best thing I can say to you is to not follow that person anymore. So we have to think about that when we're posting something, to keep it more in a neutral zone and not be offending people, because you're going to lose customers. And it's like you said, it's the bad stuff that gets passed along sometimes.
Yep.
So important.
Yeah, good point, Tinka. I like that. And what I take on that is you need to be very neutral, because yes, you have customers and they have different backgrounds, cultures, beliefs, and you know, you don't want to mess it up with them, especially if they are buying a lot from you. So as neutral as possible, you know, I mean, yeah, I always say to my clients, just get rid of politics, religions, and what is the other? Don't talk about politics, don't talk about religion, and don't talk about cultures at all, unless your business or your cause relates to that. Because those are topics that you are always going to be having people conflicting, you know, because, you know, people are different, they have different opinions, and you don't want that. You want your customers to be focused on your products and your services. That's it. So you're selling a phone, just talk about the phone, talk about your benefits, talk about all the amazing things your phone does. Just get rid of everything that is around that doesn't support you to sell the phone, you know?
I will say now, Connie, though, especially over the past couple of years, customers come to expect a certain view from companies, and when they don't hear you or your company talking about those views, whether that's political, whether that's religious, whether that's cultural, then they do tend to shy away and not think that you are authentic or aware of what's going on. Which is why, especially now, over the past couple of months specifically, you see a lot of companies talking about political issues, about cultural issues, you know, about economical issues, whatever it may be. Customers now tend to expect that and want to know what your views are, because they want to either be aligned with you because you align with them, or they don't. So when you stay neutral, it tends to kind of make some customers weary, and they're going to find those businesses that do align with their beliefs and their views. So it's kind of a hard one to be in, because you do want to try to reach as many people as possible. But at the end of the day, the customer is going to decide what you should be talking about, what you shouldn't be talking about. And unfortunately, some companies also take these issues that happen in the world and use it to garner likes, garner follows, garner views, no matter or not if it's controversial or not. That is their business model, is to be as controversial as possible in order to gain those views, in order to gain people to talk about them. So it all depends on your business model as a personal brand or a company brand, and what you want to do. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah,
That's
good point. Yes, good point, and I like it. That's a very valid thing, especially when you are a big corporation, like you have like thousands of customers around the world. For instance, if I am a university, Harvard University, and 70% of my students are international students. So yeah, I have to say something because that's my profits. You know, my profits are gonna be taken away from me. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try to fix the situation, and I'm gonna go to my customers who are paying my bills to say, don't worry, we're on it. Don't worry. Yeah, of course, you have to be Harvard school. You have to be a big time company that you're not afraid of these big entities that are gonna come after you. You know, I mean, I feel like it's good to do that when you are already positioning your name out there, when you're a big corporation, and when you have the money to attack any lawsuit. But if you're just a little company just starting, I always say just keep it neutral. Keep it neutral because you don't know what's going on there. Just be neutral. Yes, put something like, yes, we support diversity, we support international business, we support, you know, kind of be very, at the beginning of the business, just be neutral. Whatever your heart tells you to do, do it. But I always say just stay quiet and fly under the radar. Just don't say anything because you're a leader, you're a startup, you're vulnerable. You just don't want to get the attention that you don't want to. Now, whenever you're big, of course, if I am the owner of a big time company like Lysol, of course I can go and say something because you know my customers. So yeah, I'm with you, Zach, on that one. Twinka, you want to say something?
I was just going to say the company that my business is affiliated with in recent months with some of the major things that have been going on in the country, people were calling out for a statement. Why are they not making a statement? Why are they not making a statement? Well, the reason was because they knew that just what you said, Connie, they had to prepare the statement very carefully. They had to consider all the aspects of it and what was going to happen. And then they made sure that when they did make a statement that it was in a positive light and that no one could take it incorrectly. And it takes a lot of time sometimes. So it's better to take time to spend that hour to write what's going to actually only be 15 minutes of content.
Exactly.
Because that way you know you've covered every aspect. And you can't do that without putting a lot of thought into it. So I totally agree with, yes, what Zach's saying is there is a time and a place to make that. Just have to be careful with what you're doing.
Yeah. And then just going back to the social media message, you know, when you create the messages and then when you want to post them, I always follow these four things. And I would like you to kind of take a picture of this, like it's important. Then ask yourself, this message supports a cause my audience can get behind? Yes, no, check mark. This message helps my audience connect with others. This message helps my audience feel involved in the industry. And this message entertains my audience. So now always ask yourself these questions before you post a message, because at the end is all about your company, your products, and your services. And then if you feel like you're getting those things in that message, let's post them. And ask somebody if you want to, but if you don't have to ask somebody, just post and see what's the reaction. Now, when you post that message, I always say, please include awesome visuals, because, you know, pictures worth 1,000 words, you know. Oh, really? Please tell me more. Look at this. Like the first thing you saw was this picture, right? Because that's what people say, you know, if I'm in my phone and I'm kind of checking Facebook, right? The only thing I see is the picture. And if I like the picture, I want to read what is on the picture. Then I will kind of get engaged with this message. So again, going back to the things you need to ask yourself, this message has a visual, image, graphic, or video. This visual is actually well done and not include just have a visual, you know, you have to plan it. And then this visual is sized appropriately for the social network. Sometimes people upload pictures look terrible, that they look kind of cut in one side, then it was like it's supposed to show the face, but it just showed the belly. When, you know, you have to make sure you kind of position the little cursor where you want to be the main visual. And then, is this visual size appropriate for the social network? Because Twitter, for instance, if you post something in Twitter only gonna have half of the picture and your content. People have to actually click on the picture in Twitter to open the picture. Now, when you post in Facebook, yes, people will see the whole picture. And in LinkedIn is the same. So just kind of try to find images that will look sharp and neat when you post it on those networks. And then this visual has minimal text and will be legible even on mobile devices. Everybody has a cell phone. So this like our small screen. So when you share that message, make sure kind of goes nice in your phone. If not, just kind of delete it or edit it or do something. Otherwise, you kind of waste your time. So optimize your message for each social network, you know. Like for instance, in Twitter, I think you have only like up to 100 characters. So make sure what you put in Twitter is short, concise, and neat. In Facebook, I think you can post a lot. Same with Instagram. In LinkedIn is only about industry, business. People don't like to hear about personal stories in LinkedIn, so just don't post personal stories because nobody cares, to be honest with you. And on Instagram is more like pictures or video. So what do you think, Zach? Is that from your experience, is that correct?
Yeah. So Twitter now, I believe, is up to 280, I believe, on their characters, and that includes hashtags and everything on there, if I remember correctly. So definitely use that amount to get whatever message that you want to portray across. Facebook, absolutely. You hit it on the head with Facebook. LinkedIn, there's a lot of talk right now on LinkedIn, especially if you're active. You see it a lot with people on there. There tends to be more and more personal posts that are starting to happen on LinkedIn, and a lot of people are going against it. It's not to say that it's ruining people's profile or their likeness on it. It's just people don't want to use LinkedIn for personal. Keep that to Facebook, like you mentioned. And Instagram, yeah, you hit it. It's all about images on Instagram at that point. And the good thing about this is, a lot of people try to take one piece of media and put it across all of those social media platforms, and that's not necessarily the case, right? So if you have a piece of media on Facebook, like you said on here on this chart, you usually want to type some sort of content to go along with it. Whether that's, check out what we're doing, or, this happened, blah, 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 look at the picture on it. Where on Insta or Instagram, the image itself should be what the content of the message is. So it should be very, very well done. Apply filters if you use filters. If you are using filters, try to keep them constant on your images. Every now and then you can change it up, but try to be constant on your media that you put across Instagram. And with Facebook having the ability now, well, they've had it now for a while, the stories on there, you can also add stories on your Facebook. So they could be one and the same, your Instagram stories and your Facebook stories. And Instagram now too, I believe, is doing something similar to TikTok, to where you could add, have some video with some music behind it, because they're starting, well, Facebook's rolling out their new thing to compete against TikTok. There's all different kinds of, and we don't even hit Snapchat on here or TikTok really, which is younger generation leads, depending on what your business is or your brand is. Be aware of those as well, and what you can and can't do on those platforms, especially with TikTok, with everything that's going on in the news as of today, with what's going to happen with it in the future. Is Microsoft going to acquire it? And if so, then it'll probably be okay. If not, then is there going to be a US-based competitor that pops up to allow those US users and Canada and UK users to switch over to, which there is one that's in the works already, and some big time TikTok influencers have already transitioned over to this new platform. I say new, it's been around for like 5 years, but it's starting to grow in popularity. So as a influencer or as a business or as a personal brand, depending on who that target market is, your demographic of that target market, be able to venture out into other social media platforms than what's just listed here, to include Pinterest, which is majority women that are on Pinterest. So if your target market is women, Pinterest might be one of the better places for you to go to target, depending on what your product or service is. So do your homework, really see who your target market is and where they are at on these different social media platforms, and be aware what you can and can't put on them. So,
yep. Good point about the Pinterest, especially when you are targeting to women, and especially they're in their houses, decorating their houses, or cooking, or doing all sorts of things like personal care. Pinterest is the best. I didn't put it right here because this is more like about business, but Pinterest is a good social media link for those businesses. Twinka, you have a question?
Yes. Am I muted? No.
Yeah. No.
So basically what I'm getting from this, and Zach, in our personal conversations, you have, shared that with me, is that you pretty much have to make a set of posts and tailor it to each one of these different social media things.
And in best case scenario, yes, that's when you understand how each social media platform actually works, what your customers are expecting out of each one of those social media platforms. Then yes, that is best. So you'll have a post for Facebook, it's going to have certain things on it. Then you'll have a certain image for Instagram, that you could probably use something similar to the image that you use for Facebook, where you're not going to include the verbiage on it, and you may even add a filter onto it. And then for LinkedIn, when you're posting about the business, you may just take some of that copy that you use for Facebook, add some more business lingo onto it, and make it for LinkedIn. That is truly what you want to do. Starting off though, especially for startups, because that is time consuming, it's okay to start off using the same thing and posting them across the different platforms. But then I would also be aware of when you would want to post those. Different times are best for different platforms, depending on when your user base is on them. And then once you start growing and have a little bit of more resources, then you can start doing a little bit more tailored approach for each different platform. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and now that I hear Zach, that's kind of our next slide, is like share your content at the appropriate frequency on each social network. So you see here, for instance, I have this image that kind of show you 3 different social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And then you say, okay, unpublish, same day as post, day after post, week after post, month after post, custom date. And then you can have like the chart, when are you going to be posting, or when are you going to be sending a message out there. So later in this presentation, I'm going to show you a video that is kind of going to teach you a way to manage all the social networks through a single platform, which is what I prefer to do, because if you manage your social media networks individually, it's gonna take a lot of your time, a lot of your time. So it's just better to have this platform, then you kind of have everything organized, and then you can see in one dashboard everything that's going on in each social media network, and you can also see the analytics of each posting in each of the networks. That's something that I will talk more about in this webinar, but later. Let's continue with the presentation. Okay, this is very important, and actually people usually ask me, okay, how much time do I have to leave my post out there? And then I always say, look, do the law of diminishing returns. So then you need to do, like, give yourself a to-do list, a to-do review for your social analytics. Let's see that you post something today. Boom, it's out there. I posted in Facebook, I posted in LinkedIn, I posted in Twitter. And then you start seeing kind of the audience, how they're reacting. Is it working? Like 85% degree. It's working. People are talking about it. People are asking questions. They're asking how much it costs. They want to be that engaged in the conversation. People are back and forth talking about it, and then it's working. So then it will kind of continue, and it will go to like a 60 degrees. Keep going, you know, keep going, engage with the audience, start, continue selling if you're selling, and then it's going down, nobody's talking at all. It's going like 45 degrees, now what? And then you need to decide, you're not selling anymore, you are not engaging anybody, nobody's talking, kind of diminish, then stop. And then wait, and then plan your next message. Okay, so this is like how much your audience cares, measure it in like in degrees, and then amount of messages. You know, that's how you can know how the post was effective or not. I always talk about the return of investment in each post. Like for instance, if I boost an ad and I pay 250 for that ad in Facebook, and the ad was supposed to be there for 10 days, and then 10 days I paid 250, and then my sales went up. I sold like maybe 30 subscriptions in 10 days. The subscription were like 150, just do the numbers. Then you have like, wow, my return on investment was amazing. It was great. In only 10 days, I sold 30 subscriptions, so it worked. Then wait a little, not like not much. If you are selling subscription or a program that is going to start in a couple of weeks, then you have to be posting a lot of times, you know, not every 10 days. You boosting the ad for 10 days, but keep boosting every day different ads for 10 days until a week, or no, maybe 3 days before the event start. You know, that's what I always say. If you are selling tickets for an event, you have to be posting, boosting, selling, engaging, talking with the audience, kind of replying the questions, because like they want to buy. Especially, you know, I have a company here and they do summer camps. So it was intense. Their summers were super busy, and they were always kind of posting, they were engaged with the audience. And the time when the camp was about to start is when everybody stopped talking about it. Now the camp is going. And now after the event, now you start putting pictures about the camp. Everybody's happy. Oh my gosh, so many campers went to the camp. And then that's how you promote the success. And then you do your return on investment, that this company only put like maybe $500 in boosting the ads on Facebook, but they were able to bring hundreds of kids to the campus. It was very successful. But that's the way you work with your postings, you know. Now, if you post a message out there and nobody cares, that's a red flag. Like I saw one of my clients put something without my feedback. I was like, why did you do that? Well, he's new. And I say, it's okay. Nobody like it, nobody follow it, no, it's not engaged. I'm gonna give him feedback because you have to plan it. Just don't post something like that just because. You know, I think it was good that he posted this just because he's kind of talking to his customers. He wants to know reaction, and that's the way you can change the message you're sending out there. So now that experience is going to help me to help him to create a new message, to create a new content, to change the strategy, to change the name, to come out with something that the people want to buy, not what he thinks people will buy because he's been successful with that. Okay, that's important. Listen to your customers and see what they want, then create products and then send it to them. Sell it to them. Any questions on this one? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to reconfirm, especially on that last example you just gave, especially starting out, hopefully as a business or as a brand, you've done some customer interviews and kind of understand a little bit about the customer, but really until you start testing different posts and different ads, that's when you really start to define what works best for your customer base or your potential customer base. So spend some money. Doesn't have to be $250, 500 bucks for the first 10 days. Spend 50 bucks. Keep it minimal, especially at that startup stage, to find out what works on different types of ads. And once you find out of those 3 or 4 ads that you posted, the ones that work and get the most engagements, stop the other ones and put more money behind the 1 or 2 that does well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And now, if you have, let me pull. If you have some message that you're about to post, and then if you want to participate and encourage the conversation, I would like you to answer these questions, yes or no. Like, I have a plan to respond when somebody reach out to me on the social media networks in which I participate. Yes, no. Do you have a plan? You understand how you will respond to any comment that appears on your blog? Yes or no? Answer the question. You know how will listen for mentions of your content and company anywhere of the internet? Yes or no? When you reference a blogger in your content, you have a plan to connect with them? Yes or no? If you select no for any of these questions, that's an opportunity to enhance your social media plan. Means you have no plan. So just go review the plan you have and then revisit your strategy and change it if possible. But it's always good to ask these questions, especially like, for instance, if going back to the campers, to this company that sells summer camps, when they post, of course, they have a bunch of answers to parents' questions. It's about security, about who's going to be with my kids, are these people certified, are they fingerprinted, bunch of questions from parents. So the company have to have all the answers, especially whoever is managing the social media, they have to have the answers to the questions, especially because their kids. In this case, you have kids that are going to camp. Is it place safe? Where is the place? What is the location? Are they going to be having lunch? Do you have something going on in terms of allergies? What if there is a kid that has allergies to peanuts? What are you going to do? So you have to have all the answers to possible questions that the audience, the customers might have. Because if you don't have an answer, you're going to lose many customers, especially when everybody's writing about it. everybody's commenting, and then you have this open that everybody can post whatever they want. That's like terrible sometimes. I feel like if you have a Facebook page where everybody can post anything you want without you curating the content, is a potential for disaster. You just need to make sure you can curate or delete bad messages before you post it to your wall. So be careful on that. Um, and you need to have somebody always looking that content. If you post at midnight, then you have to be up all night, because there are a lot of people that is up posting at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and they're like a crazy cuckoos posting whatever they want to ruin your reputation. So don't post something that you're going to be in front at least for the first 24 hours. Just in case a hater posts you something mean, then you can delete it right away. Or react and start kind of talking with that person until you get a positive outcome and make them a client. Okay, Zach, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say some of those aren't cuckoos. They just might be in a different time zone. That's way outside than where you are. Just for people who are watching this, just it might be in a different time zone. So take that into account as well.
Good point. Yeah, we're talking to the whole world, right? I was talking about my only my area.
Connie, you're one of those people that's up in the night sometimes when you can't post.
I know my days start at midnight because it's when I can relax. I have no kids around. I can start going to my social media, and I have nobody around me to tell me something. I just can post and say something and work. I don't even have my dog around at midnight.
So I'm right, you're one of those. So I have a question then. Would you recommend on your page then maybe, Zach, there's a setting that you can look at it before it can go onto your page? Is that a good idea?
So once again, this all depends on your brand and how you want to run your brand or your company. I know many companies who do have that setting on it. That way they can review a comment or a post prior to posting publicly. But then I also know other companies, many of them, that don't, and they encourage open comments and suggestions on those pages. And it all depends on, going back to what Connie said, what's your plan for responding to those comments that may be derogatory or may not shed good light on that post or something you may do or an event that's going on that has nothing to do with what's going on. Be ready to respond to those comments. But especially going to Facebook, Facebook has the ability to hide posts too without deleting them, which is very important because it's kind of a way to deceive a naysayer on Facebook. And I hate to use the word deceive, but when you hide a post, that person who originally, or bot or company, whoever originally posted it, still sees it, but everyone else who's on that thread will not see it. So it's a way to kind of say, hey, I'm not completely censoring what you're having to say by deleting it, but I'm just hiding it because I don't want to show that to my other customers right now. That way you can still respond to it how you want to, directly to that customer, but it's not open for the whole world to see. So it all depends on how you want to run your brand, how you want to run your business, and what plan you have to follow up with anything that may come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you don't want that distraction unless help you to sell or clarify something that's going on with your product. Now, when you have something that is going to help you to sell more, yeah, let's continue the conversation, engage with that person, answer all the questions, but you need to know that that's going to lead you to a closing sale, to close the sale. But this is going to lead you to be a conflicting thing that is going to just waste your time. Just forget about it. You don't have time to waste time. Your time is valuable. Your time is gold, especially when it is spent in social media. You are there because you want to sell. If you have a business, yes, you want to get the message out there. You want to show your customers you care about certain causes or certain things. But at the end, this is going to help you to sell. So if it's not going to give you any return of your investment of time and money, why are you doing it? Just don't do it. You know, this is business. And I'm sorry, you know, I'm a business consultant, and I always say just kind of, you need to measure where you're putting your dollars. If it's giving you return, continue. It's not, just don't. It's just waste of time. But actually social media is huge. You know, it's the way to bring your customers to your front doors. It's a way to engage with people. It's a way to promote your brand, and you need to use it for that. So now this is kind of the thing that I like the most about this class, and it's going to help you actually understand a little bit how are you going to manage all these social networks. Like, yeah, how to manage multiple social networks, connect with customers, and grow your brand on social media. Then easy, use a social media management software. I'm not promoting anybody here, but I want you to see there are a lot of social media management softwares, and I love them because they will ease your life. Yes, you have to pay a subscription, as any other tool is gonna help you to grow your business, but it's gonna ease your life. If you are like middle stage company, like if you're not a startup but you already have some revenues, you can afford to hire a marketing manager, then he or she will need this tool, because it's kind of their it is what they're going to be using every day. It's a way for them to see in the whole screen everything that's going on online with all the social media networks. So you can, in this one, I'm showing I'm showing Hotsuite, Social Plot, Sprout Social, Sendable. I'm showing a lot. There are more than like I don't know how many social networks softwares are there. Are a lot. And then this is, for instance, these are images of your dashboard. Like if you're managing all your social media networks, these are your dashboards. I'm gonna show you a video in which this lady that works for Hotsuite is gonna explain how to work on this social media management networks, softwares that they're amazing and they're very easy. And then once you have those, you're gonna be like, wow, this is amazing, because one post and then you're boom, 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 boom. You're sending the message to Twitter. It's like what is the name of the gun that you shoot once and then you have like many bullets going at the same time? What is the name of that?
Like a machine gun or a Gatling gun?
It's a gun, like you shoot one and then you have many bullets going. It's
it's like a machine gun or a Gatling.
Yeah, these social media networks are the same. You post once and then the message go to any social media network you want. So I'm gonna show you a video. So let me go to the next slide. So tell me if you see the video, otherwise I gotta share the video. Let me see. Do you see the video?
No, not yet. No.
No? So, okay, let me stop the share here. And I'm gonna share the screen again. Okay, so. Do you see the video now?
No.
No? Hold on, let me. Okay, hold on. To give me 1 second. I'm trying to share. I'm gonna share my. Do you see the video now?
Yes.
And I'm a solutions consultant at Hootsuite, and we're going to cover how to use Hootsuite today. And by the end of this video, the goal
Let
is
me
to
start again, okay?
Hi everyone, my name's Andrea and I'm a solutions consultant at Hootsuite, and we're going to cover how to use Hootsuite today. And by the end of this video, the goal is to have your Hootsuite account looking like mine, so set up with different streams, having all of your accounts connected, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and also creating some content so you've got it all scheduled. So this is what it's going to look like in the end, but let's go back to the very beginning and go through step by step and how I got here. So how I like to set things up is organizing things by channel. So I'm going to create my first tab here with Twitter. From there, I can add in all the different things I want to monitor. So home, screen, mentions, even a search stream. And what this will let me do is monitor key hashtags or topics that I might want to be paying attention to. So if I wanted to see what people were saying about, let's say, hashtag hotels, I can add that in and search for it. And it will show me every time this is mentioned across Twitter. This screen here is letting me see basically my home page, like my news feed, so I can see everything that I might want to interact with. And my mention stream is letting me see every time someone's mentioned me and is having a conversation, so I can immediately respond to those. So now that I have my Twitter tab all set up, I also want to create one for Facebook. But before I can pull in any of my Facebook information, I need to connect my page. So as you want to connect additional pages, you can simply do that by clicking on the icon on the top right corner, clicking on Manage Social Networks, and this is where you can add in additional networks. So I'm going to add in my Facebook now. There we go. Perfect. So I can see the pages I have connected right here. Now I've got my Facebook good to go. So to get back to our main dashboard, we'll simply click on the Streams button. And to create that Facebook stream that I want to add in, I can do the same thing I did last time. So I'll simply change the name to Facebook or anything else I'd like. And then to add in additional streams, I can click on Get Started, Browse All Streams. From here, I'll change the network to Facebook, and you'll notice that all of my options of the different methods of monitoring change as well. So if I wanted to add in my timeline, my specific posts, @mentions, or even unpublished pages, so if you're running any paid ads, you can keep track of the comments coming in there, you can add those in too. So now that I've got this all set up, I can easily, with 2 clicks, go back and forth between my profiles and get an idea of everything that's going on my channels. Seeing my timeline, all of the posts I've sent out and monitoring the activity on those, as well as the mentions that have come in and where I've been tagged. Now that I've got my Hootsuite account set up and it's starting to look like it's ready to go, what I'd also love to cover today is how to create a message really easily. And the first thing to double check before we start creating a message is just your account and settings to make sure everything's set up right. This is where you can add an image so that your profile has a photo, as well as being able to check your time zone. So make sure this is the right time zone for where you're working so that when we do schedule messages in just a second, it'll go out in the right time zone. I'm in Vancouver, so everything looks good. And the last thing to change is if you do want to work in another language, know that you can change this here. So if I want to be working in French, I can simply switch it and it will be ready to go. I'm going to keep mine in English, save my preferences, and now let's create a message together. So now that I've got all my searching and monitoring set up, let's create a post and schedule out some content for the upcoming week. All you have to do to get going is click on New Post up on the top right-hand corner. As soon as you've selected that, the composer will immediately pop up, and from there you can choose which networks you want to schedule to. I'm going to create a post just picturing that we want to send it to both Twitter and Facebook simultaneously. So now that I've selected the channels I want it to go to, I can add in my text as well as the link that I want to direct my audience to. Right away, you'll see that because I've added in the link, I get an immediate preview of how this would look. But if you do want to include your own photo or grab one from our stock image library, you can do that right here. I'm going to grab one from our stock image library. If I wanted to upload my own photo, all you do is delete the photo you currently have, and there'd be a button that would say upload from your computer. So right away, you'll see that I can preview what this post is going to look like on each channel before it goes out. So this just makes sure you don't feel like you're scheduling blind, but can see exactly how it's going to look on each channel when it goes out. I can also see if the cropping's different on each platform. Hootsuite will notify me to let me know what's changed. One thing I notice as I'm looking at this post is that my link looks pretty clunky and long. And so Hootsuite does have an automatic link shortener built right in. So all you have to do to shorten links is simply click shorten with Ali. From there, we'll see that the link automatically condenses and looks so much cleaner to our audience, and also uses less characters, specifically if you're creating content for Twitter. So right now, I'm pretty happy with how this post looks, and I'm ready to schedule it out. So to schedule, all I need to do is click on schedule for later. I'll have the option to pick the day and time that it goes out. And so let's say I want to schedule for next Tuesday at 4 p.m. I can select that, click done, and it will be ready to go. So I'll be scheduling both of these posts for that time. If I wanted to see just at a glance what I have scheduled, I can just add in a scheduled column, and immediately I'll see that post. Hey, it's scheduled and looks great. And if I wanted to see what this looks like from a calendar view, I can find that over here on the publisher screen. Clicking on planner, and if I move ahead to the week that I've scheduled to, I can see that all those posts that I just made. So my Twitter posts, my Facebook posts. I'm also able to see all the other posts I've scheduled on both platforms too. And this is super great if you ever need to make a quick change. Know that if you want to preview a post, you can simply click on it, preview everything about it. So the text, the link, the copy. And if you want to move things around or say, let's change the time that this is going out, you can simply just drag it and drop it to the time that you do want it to. So it's really, really interactive, super easy to make changes. If you ever did want to make a quick change or edit what you've already done, simply by clicking edit here, it'll take you back to that composer screen we were just looking at. Great, so now you've got all your content scheduled for the week, you can make changes, you've got this set up. So the other thing I think would be really worthwhile digging into is some ways that we can make the monitoring more customized for what you're wanting to look at. So now that I've got my post scheduled out, what I'd also love to show you is a few tips and tricks that can really help with the engagement side, the back and forth with people that are mentioning you and your audience, and also how you can cater some of these searches that we've set up to be a little bit more specific for what you're looking for. So when it comes to engagement and someone asks a question on your Twitter page, know that you can respond right here. You can retweet, quote, edit the post, as well as like. If you want to hide or delete, you can do that too. When it comes to that initial hashtag hotel search that we made earlier, there's a few ways that we can really narrow this down to get a little bit more of a specific search. So by clicking on the little magnifying glass here, it's going to give me the option to filter by follower size. So this will basically show me only posts of people or brands that have a following of, let's say, 2,000 plus. Additionally, if I want to filter by additional search words, I can do that too. And if I added in a search, let's say for California, I just see posts that contained hashtag hotel, and it also mentioned California. For Facebook, really same rules apply. If I want to respond to any of my posts, I can simply respond right underneath, exactly like you would natively. Or if I did have comments coming in, I can respond inline too. So good to keep that in mind. So at this point, you've basically got your Hootsuite account set up. You have some great search streams so you can see what's happening on Twitter, Facebook, have your first pieces of content scheduled. This should make your day-to-day a lot easier, allow you to be more proactive. The last thing that I always recommend taking a look at is the app directory. Hootsuite has a ton of different apps to choose from, and a ton of them are free. So feel free to look through it and look at for free apps, or even if you wanted to look to see if there was a specific integration, I use Google Drive all the time. You can search for them in the top right-hand corner, and it'll show you all of the apps that fit in with there. So Google Drive shows up here. I can learn more about it and how it works, and then install it if it makes sense. But basically, that's how I always set up my accounts. It's a great way to start and keep track of what's going on. In my next video, I'm going to do a deeper dive into some elements like bulk scheduling, being able to edit your photos and preview messages and create reports. So I'll add a link in that'll loop you in for that if you want to learn more about any of those areas. But hope this has been helpful. Feel free to comment if you've got questions, more than happy to help. And always remember that you can reach out to support directly through the dashboard and be able to get help right away too.
Okay, that was interesting video from Hootsuite. I really like that software to manage all your social media content. I like it a lot. And then the other thing that I want to show you that relates to that is, hold on, let me go back to our PowerPoint, is since I don't want to just promote one of those, oh, sorry.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin Curley and I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Hootsuite. Today I'm going to be walking you through auto scheduling, editing photos, Bulk Composer, Analytics, and Boost in our Hootsuite Pro account. So to get started, I'm going to start at...
So I got like, let me share my screen with the PowerPoint. We're about to finish. I just want to show you last thing on the okay, so this is the last thing I want to show you. Let me save my screen. Okay, can you see my screen now? Okay, good.
Yes.
So now, if you want to know more about these social media management softwares, there are, here are the top 25 social media management tools for businesses of all sizes. So there is a list here, started with Buffer, that's a good one. Then the second one, Hootsuite, which is the video that we just watched. Sprout Social, that's a good one. Now, it's up to you to go to Google and kind of see what each of them do. Agora polls, see how much they charge, and use the free, kind of the free initial example they give you and see which one is easy for you to manage. This is another one, Sense Dial, eClincher, Social Pilot, Coast Schedule, Mob Social, Friends Plus Me, Crowdfire, Edgar. There are a bunch. So just go Google them and see which one you like. And I'm familiar with Hootsuite. That's why I showed the video, but it's up to you what you want to do and which one you feel like is easy to manage. Zach, do you have any experience with that?
Yeah, I've used Hootsuite before a few years ago. It was really easy for someone who doesn't know social media that well and or has multiple accounts just starting off. We've also used TweetDeck, which is good specifically for tweets. And I've used Sendable before as well. So it all just depends on your knowledge, your comfort level, what you like, how each one uses. Most of them do have a free trial. So like you said, use the free trial for each one of them, and then make your comparison and make your decision after that, if that's how you want to go. So
yeah. Okay, and this concludes our webinar on how to create your posting strategy. So any questions before we end?
Well, I certainly have a comment.
Okay.
I'm so glad that I'm working, have the privilege of working with you and Zach, because I would not even know where to begin. So this is amazing that you guys are presenting these webinars to help me with my business, and that you're there to answer questions, because now I have even more. So this was an incredible class, and it really is opening my eyes to see that there's so much more to what I have to do, which is exactly what you both keep telling me is, don't worry that you're not already doing it. We've got so much in the planning stages to do. So
Yes.
thank you very much.
Oh, sure. Welcome. So this webinar series is all about teaching you how to succeed on the cyberspace. You know, we don't know it all, but we have a lot of knowledge about this topic. So we're getting you the tools and the little information we have, but it's up to you to go Google, be eager to research, to jump and try it. Oh my gosh, this HotSuite looks so like overwhelming. You know what? Try it. Try the free trial. Post, try. And if you don't feel confident, just hire an intern or somebody $8 an hour, and they're fast on that, and they will do it for you. But it's all about using the amazing technologies we have out there to make your business more visible in the cyberspace. There are a lot of things that you can use to make that happen. So we're here just to tell you just this tiny piece of information, but the sky is the limit. You can do it. You can do it.
You guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us again, Zinka. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Perfect.
Thank you. Bye-bye.